Hey guys, you're watching NERDSMERIZed. I'm Andrew, your host. This video is actually going to be just a rundown of some of my personal collection. I love to collect comics. I've collected comics since I was 6 years old. I mean, they've always been a big part of my life, and they've helped me through a lot of hard times. And I've actually got to the point after about 5-6 years ago, I started collecting specific comics where I started collecting first appearances and deaths of superheroes. But all in all, I'm just going to give you some of my favorite ones that I do have. Let's just get started. I'm going to give you two deaths in the comic book world that are two of my favorite deaths, and they're actually drawn by my favorite artist, George Perez. But all in all, here we go. Number one is going to be Crisis on Infinite Earths, number 7, The Death of Supergirl. If you haven't read this comic, it is an epic comic book. This entire series is one of the most amazing series ever released through DC. All in all, it's a great book, just a great story arc, and it has one of the most iconic covers in history of DC Comics. Crisis on Infinite Earths number 7 is The Death of Supergirl. And this cover actually is done by George Perez, who is my favorite comic book artist. Great book. If you really haven't read it, you need to check it out. Crisis on Infinite Earths, the entire series, really doesn't run all that expensive. The two most expensive pieces are number 7, The Death of Supergirl, and number 8, The Death of the Flash. If you haven't seen this comic book, this is one of the coolest deaths I've ever read in comics. Basically, the Flash sacrifices himself to run around this machine to make it implode on itself before it destroys all the Earths. Basically sacrificing himself, and as he goes, he starts deteriorating panel by panel. So skin starts falling off, he starts deteriorating into a skeleton, and then just poofs into dust. All in all, this is one of the coolest deaths, and it's one of the most heroic sacrifices in all of comics as well. Check it out. This is Crisis on Infinite Earths number 8. Just wanted to give you a rundown of some of my favorite comics, but this is one of my favorite deaths, along with The Death of Supergirl. Now, one of my favorite characters' first appearances, actually be on the Marvel Universe side, is going to be Avengers Annual number 10, the first appearance of Rogue. This is a great book. If you haven't read it, it's really cool because it explains how Rogue started off as a weapon from the Brotherhood of Mutants. Basically, it's Rogue's first appearance is as a villain, and this is the comic where she actually fights Miss Marvel and puts Miss Marvel into a coma, giving her her super strength and her flight. Very cool book. It's a little rare, it's a little hard to find, but it is all around worth the price that you do pay for it. I actually think I paid about like $85 for this one a while back, like maybe 5 years ago. But it's a good book. Find one in good condition. It's well worth the price. It is a great addition to any collection. I always suggest that if anyone wants to start collecting specific things, I always suggest first appearances, because first appearances are always some of the coolest intros in some of your favorite heroes, and Rogue is no exception. Rogue from the X-Men is one of my favorite X-Men, and I'm talking 90s Rogue. I'm not talking X-Men the movie Rogue, Anna Paquin, no, but the 90s Rogue, the bomber jacket, that was a bad bitch. All right, so this is a great issue for everyone to try to pick up. X-Men, or it's going to be the Avengers Annual number 10. A little bit rare and a little bit hard to find, but well worth the price. It is a great book for any collection. Keeping with the female superhero kind of genre, I actually would like to show you another great superhero's first appearance. The first appearance of She-Hulk. And She-Hulk number 1. The Savage She-Hulk number 1. This is a cool issue. It shows the original origin of She-Hulk, how she got her powers. There's been a couple different ways that she's gotten her powers over the years. There was the cartoon where she actually got her powers through a blood transfusion from Bruce Banner, whereas this one, she got her powers from blood from the Hulk spilling on her and absorbing into her system and mutating her. But a very cool issue, and another great female superhero that her first appearance is in her own comic, her own standalone. And that actually seems to be a pattern that happens. A lot of female superheroes appear in their own books and for their first time. So She-Hulk, #1, first appearance of She-Hulk. Another great one, also a female superhero from the Marvel Universe that appears in her own comic for the very first time as the superhero. The individual character appeared in an older book, but as a superhero, she appears in her own book. Miss Marvel #1. First appearance of Miss Marvel. Is a great book. A lot of familiar faces right on the cover. You see J. Jonah Jameson, you see Mary Jane, Peter Parker. Miss Marvel's, her first actual book was hers, Miss Marvel #1. First appearance of Miss Marvel. Great issue all around. Very, very in-depth. The original series is also one of my favorite original series for a superhero. Miss Marvel is just a cool character, and her origins are so cool and so awesome. If you haven't read into them, she does come from the Kree. She gets the power when Captain Marvel's actually killed, and the power is transferred to her. So, I mean, it's a really cool book. Check it out. Miss Marvel #1. But in the Miss Marvel series, they also introduced one of my favorite villains. And she's also a female in the Marvel Universe. Her first full appearance takes place in Miss Marvel #18. She has a cameo in #16 and #15. Or 16 and #17. But first full appearance is #18. And this is Mystique. Mystique's first full appearance takes place in Miss Marvel #18. It's a really cool appearance, and it brings in one of the most known and one of the most notorious villains in the Brotherhood of Mutants. So, Miss Marvel #18, check it out. This is a first appearance of Mystique. First full appearance. Her two cameos, like I said, are #16 and #17. But her very first full appearance is right here. That's all I want to do for today, is just touch on a few of my favorite first appearances in comic books. What's your favorite first appearance? Let me know in the comment section down below. Like and subscribe to my channel. Give me that big thumbs up on the video. Share me with your awesome friends. And just remember, wherever you go, remember to have fun and be yourself and nerd out. You've been watching NERDSMERIZED. I'm Andrew, and I will see you later.